Lisa. Michael Day is not here yet, but he is coming. So welcome everyone who is joining on live stream to this hearing for the speed review. Today we do have a quorum. We have an apology from Councillor Broad. I don't think I have to move those, do I? Yes, you do. Darren, thanks Leslie. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against, carried. Any declarations of interest in relation to this hearing review? No, there's none. Okay, so we do have 3 submissions today. So for the submitters, Rodney's here and John is on Teams, and then Richard is the last one. So it's 10 minutes and then we get the opportunity to ask questions, not make statements. So if councillors can just remember that. So Rodney, if you'd like to come up to the table, and thank you very much for taking the time to come and talk to us today. So the floor is yours.
Can't point, but you can see if they work. Well, look at that, it's already gone into that first one. It was meant to be blank. Anyway, so thank you very much. Obviously, back in 2023, this was first raised. And I raised it back then about decreasing the speed limit. Now you've come out and properly consulted, so that's a bonus. But I'll keep it fairly brief today. My submission basically said not overly keen on a straight reduction down to 60, or a straight reduction or a change, and there's a reason for that. When I first opened this up, I looked at this and went, well, 80 to 60 and we're going from Chesney to Rockdale Road. Buttons don't work. Yep. So I had a better look at the map, and again it had some speeds over this far side, and I couldn't work out what they meant. Into the next one. So I found it a wee bit confusing, so I went, okay, where were we? This road used to be a 50 down at the back end on the east of Chesney, and then it transitioned into a 70. So into the next one. This is where we're currently at. We're in a 50, transitions to an 80. Into the next. So those green points where it changes to sort of yellow is the actual transition point. So 50k up till the end of the green, and then 80 through. Next one. So we're not actually here. We don't have an 80k road that stretches from Chesney all the way to Rockdale. Eh? Yep, so if we flick down again, that's where it is there. So it's pretty much one before the chicken farm. If we flick into the next one, so I'll put in, is this what was intended, raising the 50 to a 60 and dropping the 80 to a 60? Probably not. So if we flick into the next one, is that what you meant? I'm just saying it was a wee bit confusing to start with. So if we flick into the next one, this is what I found interesting because I raised it back in 2023. So it said here, we're proposing to drop it where there is a high community safety concerns. So I asked about any complaints made from when this road was actually first put in. There's what I got, 3 complaints. So 1 a year. However, I have questioned that to ask if it's accurate, because the first one seems to be either just before, no, it's actually after it was first proposed to be done. So council's record keeping on complaints is probably not as good as it could be. But that aside, I look at 3 and go, not a high level, but when I read those, it also talked about greater volume of traffic since the last speed limit changes, right? So if we flick into the next one, I put that in there because I looked at those safety benefits again, confused. What's the safety benefit of raising from 50 to 60? Clearly that's not the intent, but The general public wouldn't know that if they just read those papers. So if we go on to the next one, I say where to from here, flick down. I'm saying let's hit a pause. Don't increase that 50 to 60, you're probably not intending to. Consider reducing the 80 down to 70 and commit to actually reassessing Tramway Road, Rockdale Road, as well as the others in the area. And if we drop into the next one, right, so I've got all those roads pretty much there now. So that Tramway Road section, that the Great Te Pua Wai, that doesn't seem to, well, it's broken one bit of ground in about the last 4 or 5 years. When you slowed up Tramway Road, people are like water in their cars. Take the path of least resistance. So when you lifted Macquarie Street, everyone has now basically gone straight down Macquarie onto Rockdale Road, heading down to TY, heading down to Bluff. I travel that back road every day, and I mean every day. I feel a lot less safe on that road today than what I did when it was 100k from Centre Street all the way through. And the reason I feel less safe is I drive the speed limit and I have people gungering right up my back end, and I mean they come up at a hoo of a rate. They're doing the old limit. That said, what I'm also saying is if you decrease Macquarie Street down to 60, that arrow in that circle is where I think you're going to end up with traffic getting pushed. They're going to shunt down Chesney Street because it's shorter. They're going to hit Scott Street to try and get down there. Now, anyone who knows that area of road knows there's a wee kink between Chesney. Just on the side of the bridge past Chesney, it changes to 80k. If you read any data that you can get, it will tell you, as soon as people see a speed limit sign, and if you guys have E-road, you'll know most of your over speeds are in transition zones, people are going to start speeding up, so you're going to have more chance of an accident at that intersection. Hence the reason I say, let's do a broader one. So if you flick to the next one, there's a thank you, but picture up the top is obviously Macquarie Street, how it's currently sealed, that you're looking at reducing to 60. The one at the bottom is McMillan Street, which runs from Tramway Road all the way down to Boxall Street. I'll call it a goat track. It's currently 60k. You have no intention to change that. And I look at the two and go, Now, I was tossing up whether to turn up today or not, to be honest, and I thought, yeah, no, I'll do it. Reason for that being, you've got a report coming to the next meeting, which actually makes recommendations, so I thought, well, what's the point of submitting if you've already got recommendations? But that said, I'll take the challenge on. So your next report, sorry, it has typo. So on this part it says, the posted speed limit for the section of Macquarie Street being reviewed is 60. It's not, it's currently 80. That portion that you're looking at reviewing. But when I read a comment that says a change in speed limit is considered to be appropriate for Macquarie Street as the road is unlikely to attract significant capital investment in future, I start worrying. Surely we actually maintain our roads to a decent standard for the vehicles on them and the limits on those roads. If you reduce Macquarie to 60, is the bottom picture what we expect to see in Macquarie in a few years' time? Another goat track, don't know. But that's me, thank you.
Okay, so Rodney, are you happy to stay for some questions if there are any?
If there are any.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Are there any questions for Rodney? So we've got Trish.
Thank you, Rodney. I appreciate you coming in. What are you proposing, when you're proposing a review, what do you expect from that?
So obviously with the new speed limit rules and speed rules and speed setting rules, you're actually going to have to develop a plan at some stage anyway, so you're going to have to review most of them. I look at it and go, you really want to have a real good look around that whole area. I'm not saying don't change Macquarie back down to 70, but I'm saying you actually need to work out your flows. Now, back when they talked about redoing the roads here in the city centre and cutting down into one lane and doing this and doing that to slow traffic, I asked about modelling, and I got told, yes, we've done the modelling, it's on page 7. Well, page 7 had words, no graphics. There's actually software around that does modelling. In 2023, when this was proposed, I asked if there was any modelling around what's going to happen when you change these speeds and push traffic in other areas. I have had an answer to that. There's been no modelling. So I look at it and go, we're in the 21st century. There's been modelling software around since the 80s. We're in Invercargill. I know we're behind the times, but I don't think we're that far behind the times that we can't have modelling software to actually work out what's going to happen if you change speed limits and push vehicles in different areas.
So, if I may?
Yeah.
So you're saying that you're not objecting so much to Macquarie being reduced or increased or whatever, but you'd like the whole piece looked at?
Well, right here and now, I don't believe, and I don't think it was the intent, but it wasn't clear in the consultation, I don't believe the 50k area should be lifted. The 80k, down to 70, that's where it used to be, right? I drive down that road every now and then, I'll do 70 on it. Would I do 80? No, not me personally. So, no, I'm not saying review it all now. I'm just saying basically commit to a review in a reasonable length of time, not 5, 10 years down the track. Couple.
So I've got Leslie, then Rangi, and Brea, did you have your hand up? No, okay. All right, yeah, okay, so Leslie.
Thanks, Chair. Hello, Rodney. I might have missed it, but is your only reason for suggesting back to 70 that that's what it used to be?
At this stage, yes, and I believe that's a nice, comfortable pace to drive that road, and I don't want to discount what those residents in the area are saying. Like they say there's no footpaths. Well, it's granted it's not a residential area, but they do have concerns, and I don't want to actually take away from what their concerns are. But I still believe, even at 70, you're not going to drop the level of traffic that uses that road. Yeah, I'm just worried you're going to push traffic elsewhere if you drop it right back.
So the idea of you suggesting 70 is it used to be that, and it's a concession to the concerns of the
Pretty much,
residents?
yeah. Yep.
Thank you.
Rangi?
Thanks, Chair. Look, Rodney, I'm really interested in this modelling, and I would have expected modelling to be done, honestly, because for every action, as you said, there's an equal and opposite reaction, and the modelling, does that allow you these alternative routes being created? So if you choke one area, does the modelling
Shows you where it pushes.
shows you where it pushes it to? And what was the reason that we didn't do any modelling when you asked?
I don't believe at this stage you actually have modelling software that'll do that modelling.
As you said before, it's 2025. Okay, so right, no, you asked, and good question. Thank you.
Kia ora, Rodney. Nice to see you back. This is an area for which I have a great deal of familiarity, not the least of which because I live there, or close to it. But I wonder, because you refer to how often you use the roads in that area, so are there other things that you are noticing that are changing the way you feel about the speeds? I mean, you've talked about the fact that you observe the current limit on Rockdale Road, but you find that other people don't. But are there other issues going on as well that are affecting how traffic moves around that is raising your general interest and concern? So it's not just Macquarie Street, you're asking for council to look at the broader area, and what might those issues be?
So, thank you for that. So, part of that is, my concern is if you start to shunt traffic down Chesney Street onto Scott Street without actually looking at what that might do to that area, it is an area where it's currently 60 and it changes to 80 just over the wee bridge. Now, as someone heads towards that intersection, they see the 80k sign. The reaction is the foot goes down on the pedal. Someone pulls out of Chesney. You, like, looking at a car coming in, say, an 80k zone, normally you go, okay, he's coming along, I'll wait in a 60k zone, you go, oh yeah, I'm going to get in here, and he speeds up, whack. I'm just worried there's actually going to be accidents in that area. And that was one of my key concerns also with the change as it sort of looked in the graphics of putting that area that's now being developed from 50 to 60. I thought that's madness when you're going to have residents and people actually living close in that area. But the only real thing I do notice is the actual conditions of our roads, to be honest. We seem to get into a habit now of slap a bit of chip over the top and she'll be right. And I've raised that a couple of times, but I'll keep raising it as it occurs. I just think we need to invest in our roads and have them good.
No further questions, Rodney? Well, look, thank you, Rodney, for your time, and appreciate you coming along, and the insights you provide are valuable, so thank you.
Right, thank you.
Okay, so John is joining us on live stream or Microsoft Teams. Is he there? Richard, is Richard here? Richard's here. So we might take Richard. Yeah, Richard. Welcome, Richard. So the process is you get 10 minutes to talk, and then councillors can ask you questions. And then we're done. So
Thanks. I listened to the last gentleman talking. I've never spoken at something like this. In fact, I've never even been in a council thing before.
sorry, Richard, could you just pull your mic up real close, please?
Is that better?
That's great, thank you.
I've never been to anything to do with council, so I'm a bit sort of overawed in here at the moment. So if I make a few mistakes or say the wrong thing, please don't take too much offence to it. I'm wanting to speak about the speed limit on Curran Road. I'd like to know, I don't know anything about modelling of roads, I don't know anything. I've been driving around Southland or New Zealand for the last 53 years, and I've driven over 4 million kilometres in vehicles, and I see a lot of things going on, and speed limits and that are changing. A lot of them are for the good, and they need to be, because certain places around speed limits are too fast. But Curran's Road was originally 100. Nobody I speak to in Aotearoa seems to know why it was reduced to 60. If we compare Curran Road to the likes of Bay Road, it's a very similar type of road. They both have a ditch down one side. Curran Road, I've driven, in fact I've been down there 4 times this morning, going out to Lawnville and back. And in all the years I've been going down Curran's Road, I've seen hardly any pedestrians. I've never seen many cyclists. And there's hardly any houses. And there's only one side road coming off, and it's a gravel road used by a farmer most of the time. If I compare Curran's Road to Bay Road, I just see there's a lot more houses, there's more intersections. There's 2 major ones of Schoolhouse Road and Curran Road coming onto Bay Road. And also there's one going to the North Beach. And there's also a ditch along one side of Bay Road. So the roads are very similar. I've only ever seen, I saw a car on the side of the road there a month or so ago, just outside the corner of Schoolhouse Road. I haven't seen many cars have accidents there, and I'm down there a lot, so I don't know. Every time I travel down Curran's Road, there are always people. Like everybody, the speed limit is set to 60, but I'd like to say that 80% of the drivers driving down Curran Road are definitely not doing 60. If I drive down Curran's Road, I'm breaking the law every time, and I'm a criminal, because driving there every day, I do sit a wee bit faster than 60. I travel at the speed of the traffic, and most of it is travelling close to 80. A lot of it is doing just over 80. It's round about 80. I just think that when speed limits are set to a speed that most people think is illogical, I think people begin to ignore it. We see this on the roads in New Zealand all the time, travelling around. I've seen roadworks set at 50 k's an hour between Roxburgh and Alex. Nobody was there for 12 months. The speed limit, I went through there, I followed cars through there regularly. They were all doing 80 to 90 k's an hour through there because there wasn't a guy there for 12 months. So when you set speed limits at speeds that are illogical, people are inclined to ignore them or start taking matters into their own hands. When the speed limit was reduced on Bay Road, when the new pump station was being done, they reduced it to 70 k's an hour. Everybody knew it was too slow. What happened? The speed camera got blown out, and eventually, within about a couple of months after that, they raised it to 80. Everybody's happy. Bay Road, I travel that all the time. I don't have a problem at 80. Everybody sits around 80. Some people do 85, some people do 90. But you get the mad idiot going down there to 120 k's an hour. So setting speed limits are not always going to stop people from doing stupid things. And I just feel that if you're not travelling Curran's Road every day, it's not a problem. I don't go down to Macquarie Street. I go down there probably only if I'm going down to Fort Rose, but then I go up Tweed Street and come across through the other way to Sydbury, so I don't go down there. So it doesn't worry me what speed they set that to. I know it needs to be set at a speed, but that's because I don't use it. It doesn't, I'm not saying I'm not against what they're doing, but I don't know anything about it, so I don't. But while I'm travelling this road all the time, 60 k's an hour, and watching other people on the road, I just feel that it's common sense that maybe it's time to increase it to 80. I don't know how many accidents there's been on Curran's Road. I haven't seen many. When it was 100, yes, I saw a few people in the ditches, but after that, I've hardly ever seen anybody on there, and the road's probably no worse condition than what Bay Road is. In the corners on Curran Road, there is one just where you come off Curran and you go down the first corner, it's a 65k corner. Most of the corners on Curran's Road are 65, so why Curran is 60, I've tried to find out. Nobody I can find out, so maybe someone in the council who was on that panel when they reduced it from 100 to 60 could just explain why the speed limit was reduced to 60 and not 80 like on Bay Road. I don't know anything about modelling, as I said, that's all. I'm just a driver driving down the road and using it every day, and I just think that 80 would be a more appropriate speed. That's all I've here to say, basically.
Thank you. Are you happy to have some questions if there are any?
Yes, no problem at all.
Thank you. So I've got Tom, Barry, Rangi.
Richard, I wonder your thoughts on, because I drive Curran Road regularly, and you're right, I try to stick to 60, but people are forever passing me, which is dangerous. So I agree with all that. Is there a risk, given that there is no proposal to increase the speed limit on Otatara Road from 60, is there a risk that people simply start driving Curran Road rather than Otatara Road? In other words, the volume of traffic increases in Curran Road because it's going to be a faster route than Otatara Road?
I had in-laws down Otatara Road, and it's a shorter route to go off down Curran Road to go down into parts of Curran Road. And yes, the traffic is... I travel Curran Road if I need to go because I travel there. Whether it will increase it or not, I don't know. I know the speed limit from the end of Otatara up on Bay Road to Duns Road is 60, and that is a fair speed because of there. But whether it's going to put more traffic onto that area, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just looking at this as a speed limit on Otatara Road. Maybe more people might go down Curran Road, I don't know, but it's going to have a less effect by more traffic going down Curran Road than it will by going up Duns Road and around that way. I presume that was what you were wanting, was it? Did I?
Yeah, that's good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Barry.
Yeah, I've travelled Curran Road a few times too, and one of my builder mates, he had an accident on the S bend of Curran Road. I agree with with going up to the 80 k's because I think 60 k's is ridiculous.
Have you got a question, Barry?
Yeah, my main question was, with that S bend, I think it's restricted space to go around one of those corners. It's only a short bit of road, Curran Road, so yeah, I'm sort of looking down the road of because that's a difficult S bend to take, whether we should just leave it at the 60.
What's your question? What's your question?
Oh, just about that S bend. Were you
Can
really
I ask
concerned
you-
about that S bend? Or
Can I ask you what S bend is this? Is this on Curran Road?
on Curran
Which
Road?
one is it? Like there's about
You-
4 corners.
You,
Is it
leave.
Stead Street? Is it the second one you're talking about?
Yeah, that's right.
That was the one that Johnny Mulholland got taking
That's
that
right.
on.
That's-
Yeah.
that's
I'm
exactly
very
who I'm
aware of that. I
talking
know Johnny very well.
Yeah.
That wasn't due to wrong speed or anything. I think that's still in the case. It hasn't been disclosed, but yeah, there's a bit going on behind that. But I don't think speed was related to that. I think it was more just carelessness from some driver. But in that corner, like any corner, I think they were all 65 km/h corners before it was raised to 100. Is that right, Barry? So I just think that a lot of the corners down there is 4 corners on that road, and they're all 65. But when it was 100, people slowed down to 65 and went around the corner, no problem. But when you're travelling it every day, I know it's 60, the difference between 80. It does backs and forwards. I don't think it's no worse than Bay Road with the corner just around there at 65. So, yeah, if you don't want to travel down Curran Road at 65, at 80, by all means do whatever speed you feel comfortable. But for most drivers, I think they would be quite comfortable driving down there at that speed.
Okay, thank you. Rangi?
Thank you, Chair. My question is, did you ever drive Currans Road when it was gravel and the speed limit was 100k?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And how do you find that in gravel?
Well, gravel I have no problem with because I suppose I am when I was driving all the time, which I'm partly retired now, but in the time I would probably drive, I don't know, 300-400 k's every day on gravel roads. So to me a gravel road's no different than a sealed road. And I had no problem driving on it, but for a lot of people gravel is very, very intimidating. So at 100 k's now, yes, it was too fast. But I've always said they don't need to drive at 100.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
My last question is regarding the S-bends. So do you think a corner speed indicator like you see, they have a wee tight bendy thing and a
Chevron.
number,
Yep.
even though you're in an 80k zone, do you think that would solve any issues with, clearly marked, with any potential?
Well, I think if
If you haven't got a car that drives around a corner, you shouldn't be on the road. But yeah,
Correct. I find the roads in New Zealand today, there's a lot more chevrons on the road. That's the arrows at each corner. They're a lot better. And I think that today, when you see a corner that says 65, a lot of them are overrated. I noticed that a lot. And they vary between places. I've driven down some roads and you go around a corner at 65 and man, you think, well, that should be 65. The next one you take 65 and you can go around there comfortable at done there 80. But down Currans Road, I think that 65... Heck, I don't think it's a problem going around those corners. And the signpost, they still have the chevron up. The only thing they're missing on the chevron is the speed that they were originally set to at 65, but the road's now 60, so they took all those down.
she's speeding up for the corner.
Yeah.
No. Thanks for that.
That's
Appreciate
right.
it.
Okay, look, thank you, Richard, for coming along and presenting. It's a valuable and important exercise in terms of us hearing what your thoughts are and the public's
Thank
thoughts are, so thank you for that. So,
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
okay, so our third submitter has withdrawn. So John was going to be on Teams, but he's withdrawn, so we don't have another submitter. So, okay, so that's the end of the hearing. So you've catered for all these people for lunch, Liz, have you? Yeah. So we will close the hearing and